Thank you. We, of course, allow for questions here, as you all know. Who has a question this morning? Yeah, Dave.
You want to address that? Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice.
Address it. It's that clock. Yeah.
Do you want to, I mean, from a Calvinistic standpoint, can you address that statement?
Yeah. I believe what's happening there, throughout the clock wars, I lose the clock war battle. I did say I would address it, and didn't. So thanks for bringing it up. Throughout what we've seen with all these churches, we see when Christ comes, he's coming in judgment. We see judgment here. Now, most of the time we don't see judgment right here. I do. I see judgment. And when he says, behold, I stand at the door and knock, if anyone opens the door, he'd come in and he and I will fellowship. And I think what's happening here is, listen, you guys can either accept me, all of me, because that's what he's talking about here with eye salve and with gold and with raiment, if you will. You can accept me now as in fellowship, or you will see me as judge. So when I think he's saying, behold, I stand at the door and knock, he's saying, I am this close to you. I am right outside the door. And you have a quick choice to make. You can either accept me now to fellowship with me by doing what I told you to do, buying from me gold and garments and eye salve, or there's going to be judgment for you. And I think this is actually, we always see this as a kind of like a happy, kind of like Jesus is outside the door and he's knocking, and I don't really want to open up right now, but I can open up anytime because, he's always going to be there knocking at that door, He's never going to leave. I don't think it's that at all. I think I'm this close. You are going to meet me either as someone to fellowship with or as a judge who's going to destroy you. And I believe this is frankly our message to everyone, really. Our message to everyone is you will one day bow to Christ. Everybody will one day bow to Christ. You can either do it now when it'll do you some good or later when it's too late, but bow you will. And I think that's what's actually happening here. I'm coming in judgment or I'm coming in fellowship, but I'm coming.
How do you reconcile that with Matthew 7:7 and Luke 11:9?
Go ahead and read this.
Matthew 7:7, ask and it will be given to you, seek and you will find, knock and it will be open to you. And then Luke 11:9 is similar. And I tell you, ask and it will be given to you, seek and you will find, knock and it will be open to you.
So where do you see a conflict?
I'm not sure if there's any. I haven't done any research other than I did a word study on knock.
Okay.
Right here, real quick. If they come in, if there's any correlation between those, that's what I'm asking.
I don't think there's much correlation, and the big reason is because you have a different person knocking in each case. In the case of Christ, it's us doing the knocking. In the case of Revelation, it's Christ doing it. Yes, John.
In this same vein, all those verses are used by Arminians to say, I can choose salvation, or I can choose to resist salvation. These are verses that are used all the time. Against the Calvinist position that says, no, it's election. The Calvinist argument would say, well, Christ doesn't have to knock at that door. All he has to do is command, and those are his will come out. So how do you want to address that?
Yeah.
Because that's my point.
Yeah.
Matthew 7:7, it is that ask and it will be given. For everyone who asks receives.
Right. In both those cases, he's talking to his disciples. He's talking to people who already believe him. He's not talking to people who don't believe him. Well, in those cases, I actually believe he's talking to people there, some who do, and I think some who do not. I think that's a combination of people there. I base that in part off of the first point that I made, if you will, that the address is, I believe, just a little bit different. And I'm a receive text person. We have this same kind of language in the Old Testament towards God's own people. You shall seek me and you shall find me when you shall search for me with all your heart, and I will be found of you. He does say that to his own people. Doesn't really say that kind of a thing to, and think and consider this, something to really think about, to John's point. To those who are not his people, he comes off with words of judgment again and again. He doesn't come off with that type of language. You read the Old Testament prophets, and when the prophets are talking, you're in trouble. One of the biggies, of course, is Jonah, right? We got 40 days, 40 nights. That's all you have. So the language is different between those he calls his people and those he does not. It seems to me throughout the scriptures. Yes?
Just to that point, one of maybe the fundamental Arminian mistakes is to confuse choice with free choice. The Calvinist doesn't deny that humans make a choice, only that the choice isn't free. So it's perfectly valid to say that knock and the door shall be open unto you, seek and you will find. Because people do have to do that to be saved, but the Calvinists would say that that's not free, that's caused by God.
Cause and effect.
So, the Calvinistic issue is kind of upstream, if that makes sense.
The God of the ends is the God of the means. If the God of the means calls on us to choose him, that doesn't mean that he has not ordained that choice from the very beginning. Doesn't mean that. The God of the ends is the God of the means, and he saves however he wants. Saved John the Baptist in the womb. Yes?
Well, to all the other 6 churches, he actually says at the end of the statement, whoever has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. And then this one, he's saying, here I am. Like he's already there at the door. He's not sending the Spirit for them to hear. You're hearing it from me now. I think it's more of an urgent, and that's why he's actually having the action of knocking at their actual doorstep.
Yeah, it seems that there's a closer statement of judgment right now, because he does say in those, I'm going to come. 2 other times he says, I'm going to come quickly and remove your candlestick. Here it's like, well, I'm already here, and I'm this close. Thank you. Good points this morning. Excellent. Yeah.
About a different phrase, Christ being the beginning of creation.
Yes.
Can you explain that? It almost sounds like he's the first creation.
Right, and then the Jehovah's Witnesses will say that. I believe the word there, let me just the faithful and true, the beginning of the creation of God. Some of you geniuses there with your online Bibles, I believe that word, the beginning, is the word arche. I believe it is. Okay, it is. From which we get the word architect, if you will. So in other words, he's not the beginning in terms of time. He's the beginning in terms of the design of everything that exists. And that's real. It's not a time comment there. It's a design comment, if you will. Yes.
Would that be better, are you saying that would be better interpreted as the architect of God's creation?
I think in our understanding, yeah.
Okay.
I'd be very happy with that. With the architect.
Arche is the common word for beginning.
Right, and I know John uses the same thing, NRK, in the beginning. So it is connected with time, archaic, if you will. It is, but it's not exclusively connected with time. So you can't do it as an exclusive comment. Good questions. Yes.
You said the Jehovah's Witness used that as a, I'm sorry, we're going all over the place here.
Yeah.
What do they use that as?
The beginning,
He was the first created?
right, yeah, for the Jehovah's Witnesses, God created Christ as a means to take up their, to die for people's sins. In other words, God said, since I'm not going to do this myself, I'll create this guy, and he can die for the sins. And so he was the beginning, the very first one created.
So Jesus is the created Jesus.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Definitely. That's the one thing you learn in a big fat hurry with them. God created Jesus so he could die. Since God didn't want to do it, we'll get Jesus to do it. That is the position. I want to thank you this morning for your kind attention.